First Minister and party leader here. Obviously, I can't talk about an ongoing police investigation.
Do you think he should run the party? Have you suspended him from the party or the group?
Well, no yet. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do.
Will you take him off the Public Audit Committee in the meantime?
Well, obviously, I have to consider very carefully what I'm going to do next, because I think he's still in the police station getting audited by the police. So I'm not quite sure where we are and what we stand with. But, you know, it's a difficult situation for Colin, and it's a difficult situation for me because I knew nothing.
Are you surprised that he's been arrested?
Well, to be fair, I'm surprised we haven't all been arrested the way things are going at the moment, because everything's a mess. It's just a mess.
Does this threaten to derail what you're talking about here in Parliament this afternoon?
Well, it's certainly not very helpful. I mean, I'm just about greeting here. I came here to put forward my vision for a new government, for a resurgence of the SNP after Nicola. But, I mean, she's just left me in such a bloody hole. I just don't know what's going on. I just don't know where to go.
Now, the police are obviously investigating past activities in the SNP. Can you guarantee that the party isn't operating in a criminal way right now and since you became leader?
Well, at this moment in time, I can't really guarantee anything because I just don't have a clue what I'm doing. I've been thrown in at the deep end. Like I said in my last interview with you, I've been sold a pup here. I really don't know what the hell I've got myself into. I'm trying to dig myself out. I'm great. First Minister and party leader here. You're right. We don't have auditors.
So you wish she had told you some of that?
Well, it would have been useful to have known some of this beforehand. I mean, I think I've been sold a bit of a pup here. I walked into this thinking everything was going fine, and then she never told me a thing. I was just a lapdog.
So like the membership numbers, was the rest of the information withheld from the party membership, from the party hierarchy, let alone the public?
I'm as much of a mushroom as you are. I'm just kept in the dark and fed shite. She's just told me nothing of what was going on at all, and really I understand. And the auditors are looking like the smartest tools in the box, aren't they? They've fucked off. And
Still haven't got them though.
Aye, but we're desperately trying.
Desperately trying then, have they?
Aye, they have been trying. No, they haven't. I don't
Is
know.
that because other auditors don't want to step in then if they've been desperately trying?
It's getting really hard to get auditors. I don't know why. Maybe it's a range of different reasons. I've just no idea why they wouldn't take
Is it because you're scared? Is it because the party's financially a basket case?
Okay, you're right. We're scared. We've nothing left. We're destitute. We don't have two coppers to rub between each other. We're done.
Still steady footing in the black or are you in the red?
Look, mate, I've let you know, we are done. We are so far in the red that it's purple. We just can't do anything. We're completely gone. There's no chance of coming back to this. As I said, I've been sold a pup. I'm out.
Have you spoken to Nicola Sturgeon since you became First Minister?
No, the wee shit has stopped taking my calls. I mean, I was loyal to her. I was firmly loyal to her, and she stopped taking my calls. She won't touch me. She won't come near me.
Did you speak about the mess that she's left your party in?
This isn't a mess. This is a complete and utter stitch-up. I'm in the frame for this now, and I didn't sign up for this. No wonder she was called Seaweed, because nobody take her out, not even the Tide.
She's not going to be in Parliament this week. Do you think that's a mistake? Or is she right to stay away?
If she's got any sense, she'll never come back because she's a liability. I'm great.
Well. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Ben. How are you today?
Absolute shite. I'm high off my tits on prescription medication.
Jolly good.
Otherwise, I'm fine. How are you?
I'm okay. Tired.
I see Teresa in the chat there. I want to say hello to you and ask, do you have your Twitter account back yet? Because those NAFO fucks hacked it, didn't they?
Still says Biden fan club.
No, for fuck's sake. Andrew says, was late caught part with Himza saying a greeting. Well, that new Himza video that you saw at the beginning of the pre-roll, if you caught the end of it there, you'll be able to watch the whole thing from 10 p.m. tonight when it goes live on the channel. Not as a short, but as an actual video. So if you want to go and watch it over there, then please feel free to do so. I want to say hi to Andrew there, Teresa, Shalini, Harold, whoever else is watching. Great to see you. Hope you enjoyed the show. Like I said, I'm absolutely high off my tits. So we could do this. We could, legally, by the way, legally. But we can do this. Also, Andrew, I want to thank you for the gift card that I shall at some point receive when John can be bothered to put it in the post.
I'm busy. Busy.
It's a pre-stamped envelope. Put it in the closest fucking post box, man.
I've got to write the envelope.
Come on.
I've got to write the envelope. And I need to walk to the post box.
I bet there's a post box between that property and the other one.
There isn't.
I bet there is.
There isn't. There isn't. The post box is further on, nearer the park.
Oh, nearer the park.
Yeah.
You might have to walk a few extra feet.
Yeah, I go to the park to dump my rubbish.
There you go.
Because the park's got loads and loads of rubbish bins, so I just dump all my rubbish in it.
It's like Hyde Park in London, loads of rubbish bins.
Yeah, because
like,
remember,
big
I'm
rubbish collection areas.
I'm homeless. Remember. And do you want me to take a video of the premises that I work and live in just now, and show it to you on Friday night?
You could do if you'd like.
And you can see that if I'm a grifter, I'm not a very fucking good one.
Neither of us are. Come on, let's bloody face it.
I'll show you my hovel, okay?
I'm waiting for a gift card.
This looks great, doesn't it? You know, the studio with all the props behind it and all that. Yeah, okay, I'll show you. I'll show you what it's like. I'll put the lights on and expose the ugly truth.
This looks particularly professional, and it cost me a fair few £1,000 to make, but it is just a summer house.
Yeah.
It's a summer house that I have spent a lot of time and money on making look and feel and sound great.
Yeah, I just got a point. Be cheeky and get yourself something from B&M before you send it. I could do that.
I'd be very upset. I would. I'd be very upset.
Right. Before we,
because right now that's how I'm getting my fizzy drinks in next week.
Right, tell me about this.
Fizzy drink
is this guy purporting to be you? This guy Ben brackets Chasing Dissent. Is he purporting to be you?
That is me, you twat.
No, you wouldn't start a tweet with what the fuck, would you?
I mean, I definitely did. Yeah,
okay.
I definitely did.
So tell me about it.
You're gonna have to read it to me before. Read it to them and read it to me because my eyes will not read this right
French publisher arrested in London by British police after refusing to disclose the passcodes to his phone and computer when questioned about participation in anti-government protests in France. And this comes from The Guardian.
And this has been reported in the Guardian and the Telegraph. It's been reported in both. So this guy arrives into London. He works with a French publisher. He arrived into London at 7:15 p.m. on the Eurostar, so St Pancras International. Gets off the train, is immediately approached by two plainclothes British police officers who then arrest him, hold him, and do him extra because he refuses to give them the passcodes to his computer, to his phone.
Quite rightly too.
Quite rightly too, indeed. And this is all over anti-government protests in France. And these were anti-terror police, by the way.
Well, what's that got to do with us?
Oh, you tell me. This is what I can't work out, and hence the what the fuck.
Well, obviously the French aren't bothered. Because if the
French must have asked him to do it.
Yeah, but
they must have asked him to do it.
If the French were bothered about it, surely they'd have picked him up when he got on the train, or when he booked into passport control at the train.
Well, you would have thought so. You really would have thought so. I mean, this is Orwellian shit. This is 1984 shit. This is an attack on the idea of a free press. And as I said, I think to Andrew earlier on, on Twitter, this is not really about him. It's about sending messages to people like us, to the little guy, saying, if we've got someone who's working with a company, massive legal backing, and works for a publisher, we can take him, and he can sue us probably. We can get you too, little man, who's got absolutely nothing.
You can try.
Don't you dare report
try.
on anti-government protests. Don't you dare do it. And do you know what? I say to that, like John just said, I say that we will continue to report on anti-government protests. But what we tried to do here, and people on both or all sides of certain aisles don't like it, but what we try and do here is delve through the shit and give you the truth of the matter of what's going on. We pepper in a little bit of light entertainment, and we pepper in a little bit of hyperbole sometimes. But ultimately, all we're trying to do is get to the bottom of things, get to the truth. People who would be dubbed or labelled quote-unquote conspiracy theorists probably won't like half of the stuff we've got to say, and people on the other side of the aisle probably won't like half of what we've got to say, because you often find that Occam's razor is pretty accurate and the truth lies somewhere in the middle. And we're going to continue reporting that truth as we see it, as we find it. And I will be reporting on anti-government protests when I see them, when I find them in Paris.
Yeah, I think you can pretty much, if you're pissing off both sides, you're pretty much right on the money, aren't you?
Absolutely, I would say you're well above the target, and not all conspiracy theories are true, and not all people that say a conspiracy isn't true is right. They're not.
Indeed.
The truth obviously lies somewhere in the middle. Not everything is a conspiracy, but some things are.
So with that,
John,
I'd like to thank every one of you for attending this episode 200.
That's how you say goodbye.
50. No, it's not. I'd thank you for attending this episode 215 of Chasing Dissent Live with me, John, and Ben, who's as high as a kite and talking shite as normal.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave.
There you go.
I would have danced along to the music, but I completely forgot to unmute it.
Yeah,
and then I started laughing my head off when Shalini said, "Hang on, is that it?"
Well, why would she say, "Hang on, is that it"?
Because she thought you were saying goodbye too.
Good grief. People, this is the problem with people these days. They don't read and they don't fucking listen to what people are saying.
John. These are our treasured, wonderful, beautiful, brilliant audience. And we love them dearly, because without them, we wouldn't have 12 people to talk to.
12? That's quite good.
Yeah.
But suspicious mismatch with the likes.
I see it. The baseball bat is well too far away at the moment. It's all the way over there. I am not going.
Right. Let's get into it. So the Times editor for Scotland, Magnus Llewellyn.
He's one of yours.
Yeah, I guess so. He said senior members of the SNP are braced for Nicola Sturgeon's imminent arrest. So it wasn't today. Today was not that good day, but it could well be coming.
Well, it was going to have to happen at some point, I would think, because there's only 3 people really majorly involved with this current scandal.
Well, there's three signatories to the accounts. One of them was Peter Murrell. One of them was
Colin Beattie.
And the third one is Nicola Sturgeon.
And so they arrested Colin last night, but once again released him without charge, same as they did with Peter Murrell. So they've arrested both of these people for questioning and released them without charge. And so it's got to be Nicola's time soon. Maybe they will do it more sensitively. Maybe they've already had her in for questioning and we just don't know about it. But this seems like arrests for the purposes of questioning under caution.
Yeah.
Therefore, she's going to be read her rights, even if we don't see a public arrest. So it may well have already happened, but
it may well have. It may well have. But
And I
we'll
said
see.
this to John already, is there were several days between Peter Murrell and Colin Beattie's arrest, and Colin Beattie's arrest is very fresh. It was just last night.
Yeah.
So let's brace for it ourselves. I think, Occam's razor, once again, says that she's probably going to be arrested. She's going to have to be, I would say.
It's so going from the Times of Scotland to the Scottish Daily Express. Cybernats. Cyber rats warn of civil unrest and make dark comparisons to North Korea. Complain that Scotland is like Catalonia. Really? Spain? Or even Nazi Germany as a result of criminal investigations of the SNP. Oh, hold on a minute. Is it not the police's duty to be impartial and not be a political organisation? Therefore,
Absolutely it is.
does it matter which party or who is in power if the police are doing their job properly?
No, absolutely not. And this is Scottish Express here. I actually agree with them. The SNP has helped foster this kind of sinister nonsense, and it is nonsense because the SNP's 6 supporters are not going to be able to cause civil unrest.
I know.
I just don't get where this shite is coming. Jesus Christ, John.
Yes. It's fucking Scotland. They're full of... Scotland's inhabited by fucking retarded people, right? Who drive cars stupidly. And...
Well, thankfully,
yeah.
Friday night will be the last show you do from that particular studio.
It will be. It will be.
So
And that's
from
why I'm
next
going to
Monday
give
onwards-
you. I'm going to give you a sneak peek behind the curtain. And when I say curtain, I mean literally.
Theresa asks, independence over now? Well, it never got off the ground, did it, John?
Did we not have a referendum and say no?
You definitely did. Yeah, you definitely did.
And was that referendum not meant to be a once in a generation vote?
Yeah.
And was
yeah,
that referendum only what 10? Was not even 10 years ago.
It's funny that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the Scottish National Party, they didn't get the answer that they wanted on the referendum. So they go, "Oh, people didn't know what they were voting for. They're too stupid. Well, let's have another vote." And then we get the Brexit referendum, which is also let's get, not what the liberal elite, shall we say, want. And they go, "Oh, those poor peasants were too stupid. They didn't know what they were voting for. Let's have another one." It's almost like they're all fucking sore losers. And I voted Remain. Jesus Christ. If they run the referendum again, by the way, if those new this is one Remainer who's voting Leave because
I
was very naive.
I voted Leave.
I was very naive.
And if they were running it again, I'd vote Remain. Nah, I don't know what I'd do. Anyway, right. So welcome to the Spriter Show. So.
Has he got a lot in here today?
Oh, freaking hell. I mean, I wish he'd reach out to us, actually, because we use him a lot,
We should reach out to him.
I have done so, but he never come back. Right, so the US has secret nuclear technology at a nuclear power plant in Ukraine, the biggest nuclear power plant in Europe, by the way, right? And warns Russia not to touch it. Why does it warn Russia not to touch it? Because Russia controls the part of Ukraine that this nuclear power plant is now in. So, to me, this is like, well, what are the US doing here? Because it's like saying, don't touch it. And Russia's going to go, of course we will not touch it.
I'm definitely not going to touch it, Joe.
But the other question is, right, the other question is, America says it's got secret nuclear technology in this Ukrainian plant, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is vital to its national security. How can national security be affected by anything they've got in a civilian nuclear power plant?
In Ukraine.
In Ukraine. So, you know what? One, if you're an American, if you're the Americans and you did this, you're fucking stupid, right?
Yeah.
Especially in
Yeah.
Ukraine, which, as
Yep.
you know, is the most corrupt country in Europe and is becoming, well, is not becoming, it is a totalitarian dictatorship as we speak and will soon cease to exist.
Don't say that, John. Not allowed to say that. That's not the narrative.
Oh, right, sorry. Oh, no, Ukraine's going to win. Yay, Slava Ukraine. Slava Ukraine.
Spencer says this sounds like a big red button that says "Do not press."
Fucking
I
bullshit.
think
It's all bullshit, isn't it? I mean, I
well,
want
it's
to make
either all
this video.
bullshit or
Or no, well, they're trying to send them down a rabbit hole, but no, it's like, for God's sake, the Yanks are trying everything they can to remain relevant because they are literally getting scorned by almost everybody on the planet, apart from Ursula. Ursula von der Leyen seems to be the only one that's giving them any time of day these days.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But do you know what? We need a new button. Admiral Akbar from Star Wars. It's a trap. It's a trap.
Yeah, okay.
Right. Because let's face it, that's probably a big fucking trap.
It could be. It could be. Right. So G7 foreign ministers promised tougher measures against Russia and call out China. Okay, what are they calling out China for? They're calling out China.
Things.
What?
Hopefully the correct things, like oppressing their own fucking citizens.
They're calling out China to talk Putin into stop the war, right? And not to arm Russia. And China's always said it's not arming Russia. It's got fuck all to do with it. It doesn't need to arm Russia. But
China is the only country, right? Xi Jinping is sounding like, unfortunately, the sensible person in the room, and I fucking despise what they do to their own citizens.
But
when he's the only person calling for peace...
Well, he's not, though. He's not, because there's another guy calling for peace who I despise as well. But again, he's the only sensible person in the room when it comes to Europe. But anyway, before we get there, let's talk about what this arrogant little shit... How arrogant does this little shit sound, right? China must make clear its intention to continue to engage with the United States, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said. Countries around the world expect us to take a responsible approach to dealing with China. I expect that we can move forward in this direction. What an arrogant little fucking jumped up twat he is.
Yeah.
He really is. I mean, I think we are seeing the death throes of the United States of America as a superpower.
And do you know what? I have absolutely nothing more to add to that. I think you've said it. It's the most arrogant fucking statement ever.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, United States, you don't own the world. I know you want to think that you do, but realistically, if you want to look at owners of the world, China's probably one of them with their Belt and Road Initiative, something that you tried to do with your installation of freedom, but they did another way. Basically, the end goal is the same.
Mm-hmm.
The end goal is to colonize, is to, control. And that's what Belt and Road has done. It just did it without blowing everything to hell.
Yeah, well,
it did it by...
Yeah, so China's kind of doing it the Roman way, right?
Yeah, they're building their way in.
Yeah, whereas America is very much the Alexander the Great kind of way, where you roll over it and conquer it, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, America, but it's too late. You're losing the ability to do it economically, and you're losing the ability to do it militarily because people are they're outperforming you now, which is. But the irony
incredible. of all of this is that China would not be able to do this economically if we hadn't handed them the keys to do so.
Mm-hmm.
All of us in the West because we wanted to, basically virtue signal. Oh, we're going green. Oh, we're going to stop. They called it global warming back then. It's now called the climate crisis. They have to rebrand every few years when their models don't turn out to be kind of right.
There's climate stuff in here as well.
But we got lazy. We had them all of our manufacturing, and we greatly enriched their country.
Mm-hmm.
And then we handed them the keys and the ability to do Belt and Road, to do all of these economic pushes into other continents, into other countries. I mean, they've colonized pretty much a good chunk of Africa with Belt and Road.
Yeah,
they've done what America wanted to do with their installation to freedom. They have.
They have indeed. And right, so Zelensky's now beginning to sound like Hamza.
Okay.
Right, listen to this. Zelensky. This Friday, there will be a meeting at which it will be decided when the meeting of the General Staff will be held. At which meeting they will decide when the offence of the armed forces of Ukraine will begin. We're going to have a meeting to decide when to have the meeting, and that meeting will then decide when we start our offence. Yeah, it's a Stephen King book, and it's got no ending.
No, because you need to have a meeting to decide when the meeting is, because when you get to the meeting, you're not going to be able to decide on the offensive, because you don't have the forces or the weaponry to actually do an offensive. Am I about right?
I think you're right, mate. And then it gets worse. It gets worse because now we have reports that Ukraine is threatened by a new Maidan, right? So Maidan was when they did the last regime change in 2014,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Zelensky's autocratic leader, the Maidan could take place again, believes the former Ukrainian minister. Without revealing the identity of the official, because he's obviously frightened he's going to get assassinated or worse if Zelensky gets hold of him. But
yeah,
we've seen footage from what's it called? What's that thing that I never used? Telegraph, something like that.
Telegram.
Yeah, Telegraph. We've seen footage from that about Ukrainian soldiers moaning about Zelensky and wanting to go and sort him out rather than go the other way and sort out the Russians. So
they've had enough. By the looks of it, allegedly.
Well, allegedly, but if I was in Ukraine and fighting for Zelensky and hearing all the shit that's coming out now, I think I'd have had enough as well. And then
actually, that is not my kid. That is not this end. That is John's end.
What's up?
The loud noises in the background.
Oh, it's fucking kids outside. It's an industrial estate, okay?
Yeah.
And the fuckwits next door that have the dance studio, right?
Yeah.
And if you've got kids, fair enough. But
yeah,
you know what? They fucking come out and they bring their kids in their fucking Chelsea tractors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then they hang about yakking to each other, and they park everywhere. I mean, one of them parked in front of our doors, and I goes, "Why are you parking like that?" And she goes, am I not allowed to park here? And I goes, well, no, because it's fucking our car park. And she goes, well, there's no signs. And I said, there are no signs in the street that say don't shit in it, but you don't do that, do you? She didn't look impressed.
No, she wouldn't.
Fucking retards.
So that is,
anyway,
that is the case.
Yeah.
And good evening to the others that have just come in. I see you there indeed. Thank you for joining us this evening. I'm just going to have a look at the chat if I can get through. Shalini says, still in his green tracksuit, we see. Yep. Zelensky is never leaving that tracksuit. Robin is singing from my hymn sheet, baby. He says, all we're saying is give peace a chance. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Singing from my hymn sheet because I don't want to see anybody killed. I don't want to see any Ukrainians killed. I don't want to see any Russians killed.
We've got more coming. So let's keep plowing on because
let's do it.
We are getting there. So the West is preparing for Moscow to use all available options to respond to the Ukrainian counteroffensive, says The Guardian.
What offensive?
Well, exactly.
If they do it, It's not going to last long.
No, but here we go. Here we go. Listen to the next bit, though. The West prepares for Putin to use whatever tools he's got left.
Yeah, he's got plenty of tools left.
Putin's got plenty of tools left. I tell you, if you want to see what's going on and get I think, a fairly balanced view, look at the Hindustan Times.
You know what? I actually agree with you. I think that they give the most balanced view of everything, and people might call us propagandists for saying that. Don't give a shit. I'm looking for the truth on either side here, because let's face it, we are being once again spoon-fed a whole load of shite by the mainstream media. And when none of this does come to pass, when none of this Ukrainian, grand Ukrainian victory, which they all keep saying is inevitable, when it whimpers out because that doesn't happen, at least in the way that they say it will.
Yeah.
Why aren't they more critical? This is a good question, because they must know that public trust in the mainstream media is at an all-time low. And it is. It's at an all-time low when there are so many alternatives available now.
Yeah.
And so many alternatives that push a counter-narrative. And yet they persist. They persist with propagandizing people. They persist with telling people non-truths. And then they roll out these things that they call, and this is a new one, by the way, and it's rolling out everywhere now, a disinformation specialist.
Yeah.
To try and debunk other people, when usually those people are lying themselves, but they try and give themselves an air of authority.
Yeah,
Look, I'm a disinformation specialist.
See, I don't
Why are they doing this?
I don't understand this, because this isn't how journalism used to be, and it's not how even the TV people used to be. They used to actually report stories and give you the truth, warts and all. I mean, look at Woodward and Bernstein when they exposed the Watergate thing. The TV channels didn't try and cover it up, It's when the Vietnam War, they reported the good and the bad. You saw the body bags coming off one end, you saw the protests at the other end, you saw the troops in Vietnam. I mean, you got a fairly balanced view of what was going on, but not now. Now it's complete propaganda. And yeah,
it's propaganda. They take a side, and no matter what the issue is, they take a side, and then that is the truth. Their side is the truth, and nothing else can be.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, look at that debacle, right? Around the January the 6th and the Capitol building, right?
On YouTube, if you say that wasn't an insurrection, they will ban you.
Well, don't say it wasn't an insurrection.
I'm just telling you, if you say that,
you're not saying that. No, but what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, look at the debacle around it, right?
Yeah.
And the way it's been reported, and then the way it's been exposed in Congress, in the House, right? And the whole thing has been, it's been a complete, what would you call it? Just a shit show. It really is.
Yeah, but the point
on
I was
both
making
sides.
there,
on both sides.
The point I'm making there about the censorship, right, plays right into, because you've got to imagine, and this is just me spitballing, but I imagine that these legacy media companies are behind the scenes lobbying companies like YouTube to take down people who say something different to what they do. They're given algorithmic prominence. They're given, higher reach and higher status.
Yeah, but we also know the government are telling them to do it as well.
Yes, they are, but I know that they work in tandem with these big legacy media companies. And at the end of the day, this is why you're seeing alternative streaming platforms. This is why you're seeing alternative video platforms. And some of them, like Rumble, are starting to do very, very well for themselves. We're on Rumble right now. Hello, Rumble.
And if you are listening from Google or YouTube, which you probably aren't, but what happened to Google? Because Google owns YouTube, you know that.
Remember the old slogan of Google?
Yeah, what happened to Google? What happened? What was that slogan, Ben?
Don't be evil.
Yeah.
And I believe that censorship is one of the most evil things that you can do. Even if you don't like what somebody's saying, even if you don't agree with what they're saying, other adults in the room have the ability to consume content, consume media, and decide for themselves whether they want to believe it. But you are taking that decision from them. You are infantilizing them. You are telling them that you are their parent, you are their keeper, and you know what's best for them, but you don't. You don't know what's best for people. People know what's best for themselves. Everyone is an individual. Everyone can make their own choices. And I don't understand this. It's being pushed heavily by the legacy media.
But you know what it is? It's the extension of nanny state. It's the removal of critical thinking. It's the inability for people not to do things they haven't been told about. And that incident tonight, there's no signs that don't say you can't park here. Right?
Yeah.
That's like how fucking stupid are you? You go and park in front of somebody's door, right? And you say, oh, there's no signs. Where would you like me to put the fucking sign? Staple it to your forehead? You know?
Well, exactly. And, you know, we've got a skip at the moment, and I bet people start using it as their own personal bin, despite the fact that we've paid for it, you know?
But,
it's the same deal.
Anyway, but this is what I'm going on about. People want to be told what to do at every turn. And they're so fucking happy that they go and sit in their house for 2 years and give up. You know, that's the kind of people that you're dealing with. People don't want to think critically. They don't want to challenge anything. They just want I just want a quiet life, you know?
And you know what? This conversation does not mean that, because people will take, oh, listen to us, don't listen to the legacy media. People will accuse us of saying stuff like that. Listen to us, but don't believe us.
Yeah.
Don't believe us. Do your own thinking. If you come to the conclusion that you agree with us, fantastic. We really appreciate it. But if you come to a different conclusion, you're always free to tell us. In fact, you're free to come on the show on a Thursday night. We can always book you in. But if you disagree with our position, we're more than happy to listen to you and take that on board. We're telling you to think for yourself.
Speaking of a Thursday night, who have we got tomorrow?
Who have we got tomorrow?
The Bembridge.
Is he actually...
Yeah.
You've arranged all of that. You've done it all.
Yeah, he's coming.
Nobody tells me nothing.
He's I'm a mushroom. They keep me in the dark and feed me shite.
James Bembridge. Explain to them who James Bembridge is.
He's a guy that writes for, what is it, Country Squire or something?
Yeah.
Something
I
like
think
that.
so. Yeah.
Look it up tomorrow. I'll do a thumbnail in the morning.
You'll look up our guest tomorrow, will you, John?
Yeah. Well, I've had a look at him. There's a photograph of him petting an elephant online.
Beach Crates asked when you're getting Tate on them. Well, I've sent Tristan an email. I got nothing back. Right? I thought they wanted to go on every show that they could.
It's like, I was watching something today and it was going on about podcasts. And it's quite interesting, actually, because it said as the Give It a Go podcast thing finished, right? Because a lot of people gave podcasts a go during COVID, during the pandemic. But
well, it wasn't podcasts I was doing.
No, I know, but let's just say video podcasts as well. But a lot of people gave it a go, and apparently there were like millions and millions of people going to podcasts.
Of course, they had nothing else to do.
But then you find that half of the podcasts that were started have no more than 3 episodes. 3. So that's 50% gone straight away, right? They have 3 episodes and then get fed up. That shows you people's attention spans, okay? Right? Then the next one is there are only, after you take away the ones that have less than 10 episodes, right? Worldwide, there's only 720,000 left.
That's not terrible, you know.
No.
And if you do listen on any podcast platforms, please do search Chasing Dissent, because if you can't make these shows live on video, you can always find them pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Well over 200 episodes available for your pleasure and your entertainment. And also, before we do continue on, if you haven't hit the like button yet, then please consider doing so. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. We are on that push to 900. We are within that 10 bracket right now.
We've,
Less than 10 to 900.
We've got more likes than actual people watching at the moment.
That sucks balls. But it's still good.
I think that's good.
Still good. But and also if you can support us any further, we're not suggesting that everybody can, but if you can, then please consider becoming a monthly subscriber at patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, or indeed Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent. You can also make a one-time donation to the show at paypal.me/Chasing Dis, or just subscribe to us over on Rumble. Beats Crates, we are indeed attempting. She won't go on anybody's show. It's not just us. It's nothing personal.
We go on her show.
Go on anybody's show. We go on her show. Sonia Polton, this is for people listening on the podcast. But she will not go on anybody's show until all of her legal dealings are wrapped up, shall we say. So that is the only reason we haven't had Sonia on the show yet. We could try and drag Sean on, I guess.
Yeah, we could. We asked him last time, and he's quite lazy. He never reaches back, or it takes him like a month to come back to you.
Well, we should probably send him a message. We don't do that. We don't send people messages. We should reach out more.
We need people to help us.
Yeah, because we don't reach out. We just basically what we do is we work heavily on providing you a great show, and we work heavily on providing you like great videos, and then we don't market.
Yeah, we
don't market.
We're great at content. Well, I think we are.
I think so too.
But marketing, we're not so good.
And we don't market, and we don't reach out to people, because we should probably go and turn up on other people's shows more often, but we don't reach out to people.
Yeah.
So we've got to learn to do that. We've got to learn to reach out. I think that holds us back a bit, to be honest.
Yeah, it probably does. It does.
It probably does. Shalini says, get David on, please. Well, David's gone from Twitter at the moment.
David?
David's gone. David Nolan stopped on the path.
We've had David
Twitter
on before.
Account's gone. We've had him on several times,
yeah.
But his Twitter account's gone, so we don't know what the state of play is. He may have stopped commenting, passed down completely.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, moving on. So the cessation of arms supplies to Kiev will mean the immediate end of Ukraine, says German Defence Minister Boris Pistorius. No, it won't, Boris. What it will mean is if you don't stop the supply of arms to Ukraine, it will mean the immediate end of Ukrainians, because they're all going to get killed.
Which is unfortunate.
And I'm not being flippant about this, because so if Zelensky's got so many people that he can afford to do an offensive, why are they aggressively recruiting people off the streets, at funerals, at weddings? Why are they aggressively doing that if they've got, loads of reservists ready and willing to go? I mean, you've seen people apparently coming from Sweden and the UK getting applauded on their buses or saluted as they drive back after being trained in the UK. So how long have they been here? What, 3-4 weeks? So what is it? Cannon fodder? Is that all it is?
Who knows?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Or are they
either.
getting trained to drive the 30 tanks? That's going to go a long way, 30 tanks. Especially when the Russian weapons seem to be particularly effective at knocking out Western armour.
Yeah, those 30 tanks, if they ever do make it onto the proverbial board, will be gone pretty quickly. And once again, that's not supporting Russia. That's just looking at the situation at hand and reality. Because once again, we'll go back to Jack Teixeira, the 22-year-old or 21-year-old airman who is now currently in United States federal custody, because he leaked the United States' own documents basically saying exactly that Ukraine is losing. They are dying at a rate of seven Ukrainians to 1 Russian. They've probably got a smaller force anyway to begin with. And at the end of the day, what is the point in all of this on either side? Because nobody should be dying. I just don't know.
No. Harold, you can't do that.
No, we're not allowed to do that. We're not allowed to do
He's
that.
just trying to get us banned, isn't he?
Yeah. So
No.
what? Once again, for people listening on the podcast, somebody has asked me to upload some of my old videos to these shows. I can't do that. I should be able to do that, but I can't. There's nothing spicy or
And there's a
nothing,
reason that's the reason Ben doesn't have a channel. So we're not doing that. No.
just facts and
Yeah.
live streams
I
and
know.
reality. That's it.
I know. But yeah, and yes, I agree, people. It is a form of self-censorship. You are right. But if you want to stay on
got
certain
no choice.
platforms, what choice have you actually got? This isn't something you can fight at that level. All you can do is fight it by telling people the truth as much as you can and being on as many platforms as we can be.
Because what YouTube did to me is they finally admitted in an email and in a tweet that I was right. There was nothing wrong in these videos, but I would be banned anyway for spam. Never told me what spam I'd created because I hadn't.
Yeah.
But they will always find a reason to just shut up people they don't like. It's as simple as that.
Yep. So here's a tweet from Donald J. Trump Jr.
Where are we going?
So, I know Ukraine is the new religion of the left, but it's not our problem, and we shouldn't bankrupt our country and deplete our military to aid one of the most corrupt countries in Europe. And this map here shows places that are not America and not on America's border, and therefore should not be really any concern of America, but America's got a military base in almost every country. At least one military base in almost every country on that map that you can see, including Syria.
Yeah.
What the fuck is America doing in Syria?
Installing fucking freedom, John. Don't you know? Right, that's it. Right. Somebody, please make a one-time donation to paypal.me/chasing-dis because I want an American flag T-shirt for the show. Right? I've just freedom written across it. Somebody, please get me that prop.
Did I tell you? Do you remember if you go to paypal.me/chasing-dis, it says? And I said somebody's already got Chasing Dissent. So if you go to paypal.me/chasing-dissent, it's me! It's freaking me. So don't be afraid, people. If you make a mistake, it's still coming to us.
Yes, it is.
Us.
You still got my fucking gift card. I want my gift card, John. I want my fizzy drink.
It's coming. Right. So right. That's twat. Okay. One of many. Somebody put me on a list the other day. If you ever
You've
put
been
me on
on
a
a
list, you will get blocked, people. Don't put me on a list.
Instantly blocked.
Instant block if you put me on a list. Anyway, so this guy says this is what you should be doing, right? This is his routine. Now, is that not the very definition of targeted abuse?
So let's go through it. Fella of the lights here, just on the jazz on Twitter, says for hashtag NAFO inspiration, my new morning routine: wake up, shower, make coffee, search Ukrainasi on Twitter, and I said that because of algorithms.
Yeah.
Report all accounts using this while enjoying my coffee. Even 10 minutes of this every day will help save the planet. Yeah, I think I would say that is the very definition of targeted. Well, maybe not targeted abuse, but it's targeted something.
No, that's targeted abuse. Because you're reporting people for no good reason other than using a hashtag.
So it says harass Vatniks online.
Yeah.
It actually says harass. So
Yeah, it does say harass,
harassment.
yeah. So that is, and it's not morally acceptable because effectively all you're doing is trying to censor people's voice.
Yeah, and do you know what? We don't agree with people who fervently support Russia, and we don't agree with people who fervently support Ukraine. As this show is pretty much about, the truth probably lies somewhere in the fucking middle.
Yeah.
And this is just a bunch of extremes, isn't it? This is extreme. We could call them far left and far right, but I don't think that applies here. They're far something, and they're just single-minded cultists on either side, really.
They're far short of a they're a picnic. They're a sandwich short of a picnic. Anyway, David.
I don't know how this will help save the planet.
No, it won't. It won't. It just annoys people and just makes them feel self-important when they're not. They just get tiny little penises. Anyway, incentivizing illegal migrants to risk their lives by crossing the channel in exchange for taxpayers' cash is wrong, dangerous and hugely irresponsible. That's why I have denied the Welsh Labour government their request. And this is from David T.C. Davis MP, the Secretary of State for Wales. And you know what? I'm not often in favour of politicians taking arbitrary decisions, but I think he's right. Because if migrants were to find out that if they got across to Wales, the government would be giving them £1,600 a week or month or whatever, of course they're going to take extraordinary measures to get there.
And how degrading is that for the people that are living on Welsh streets right now?
Mm-hmm.
How degrading is that?
Mm-hmm.
Just to say, you can stay there. We don't care about you. We're not going to do this for you. We've got the cash to obviously do this on tap, apparently. So why not? Charity begins at home. If you've got that kind of cash to do that kind of thing, let's start at home. Let's take all of your rough sleepers off the street. Let's start there.
Yeah. Charity begins
and give it
at
to
home.
them. If we don't do that, then we know that we're just virtue signalling. We know we're just virtue signalling shite. And, well, who knows? But that's what I say. Charity begins at home. Let's start with the people sleeping rough on Welsh streets. If you've got that kind of money to hand out, put your money where your mouth is, and let's clean that problem up first. And it is a problem. It's a problem all over the United Kingdom. We've got rough sleepers everywhere. And maybe...
And what I'd like to point out, I'd actually like to clear a few things up for people, and maybe the reason why migrants try and get across the channel to the UK. Because if you stop in France and decide that's going to be your home, there are a number of things that you have to do as a migrant in order to get any benefits. One of them is you have to give up your fingerprints, right? You have to be registered. And you won't get any benefits until you've been there for 2 years.
I thought it was 4 now,
No,
but it could still be 2.
It was 2. I don't know if it's increased. But you won't get any benefits for the first 2 years. You're not entitled to anything, right? So, now you know why they don't want to stay in France. Because they've got to fend for themselves for 2 years or 4 years or whatever, okay? And this is why you have a charity called Care for Calais in Calais feeding these buggers, because they won't give up their fingerprints and they don't get anything. And sometimes they're there for more than 2 years, but they don't get anything because they won't give up their fingerprints.
I think Care for Calais should personally, and I've looked into some of the things that they say and they do, and they're direct. I think they should probably be investigated.
I think they should be prosecuted for people trafficking.
Yeah, I think they should definitely at least be investigated for human trafficking. If not directly, then at least having some kind of hand in it.
Right.
Some of the rhetoric, and this is just my opinion, this isn't a fact, but in my opinion, some of the rhetoric that comes out of the people that are working with and for Care for Calais highly suggests that perhaps an investigation is required.
Yep. Right. The next one. Now, don't jump to conclusions, people, when you see this. Okay. So, yes, that may well be true that the monovalent Moderna and Pfizer treatments are no longer authorized for use in the United States because they have been replaced by bivalent ones.
Yeah, they've just got new ones.
They've just got new ones, new improved,
they've
super
just got new ones.
So, really doesn't make that big a difference.
No, it doesn't make any difference.
No.
So all they've done is they've and they said this here in this country as well. I've seen some things going out from the British government that say, you've just got, I think it's like 1 or 2 months before you can never get your first and second, is what they say. So I think the same thing's going to happen here, and this is neither, you make of this what you will, but what I will say is this doesn't make a difference, in my opinion. It's just one replaced with another. It's just same shit, different day.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a reason to be celebrating, because there is still that product available, just with a different name and a slightly different tweaked formula. So status quo, in my opinion, is the same.
Yeah. Right. So the next one, this was quite a difficult one, okay?
Right.
This guy is dead now. Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was security reported him for sleeping underneath the hotel or something like that, and
Right.
cop arrives to deal with it. Female cop. She's on her own.
Yeah.
As most American cops are, you know, are a lot of American cops, they patrol singly. Okay.
Right.
So she's talking to him.
Are they doing this to you on purpose?
No. She's talking to him, right? And he does start to get quite animated. Now, I have every faith that the guy is an army vet, right? And he's probably homeless, and he's probably got some PTSD or other issues.
Absolutely, I would imagine so.
And she's talking with him, and she's talking to him quite calmly and sensibly, but he's getting more and more riled up. Okay. And he's doing it to himself, and he starts threatening her, right? And coming towards her, and she puts her hand out and says, "Can you please back up, sir?" and all that. And that's what you do. You know, you keep them at arm's length. You can never see. That's right. So from a police perspective, this is because one of our viewers, or McHenry, I mean, we'd use him quite a lot. He's quite good. He says this would never have happened in Europe because the American police have a shoot to kill policy, and it's not that the police have a shoot to kill policy. The police have a shoot to hit policy, a shoot to stop policy.
So you're aiming here.
Yeah, the last thing you want to do as a police officer is miss the person you're shooting at, because then that bullet can travel for what? A mile, right? So who's it going to hit? I mean, it might hit no one, but it could hit somebody else. It could hit a bystander. So if you're shooting at someone, the idea is to hit the person you're shooting at. To do that, you aim at the centre of mass, which gives you the biggest target. And the least chance of over-penetration, because in a military situation, if your round goes through someone and kills another soldier down the road, that's great. 2 for 1. John Wayne, right? But that's not what you want to do as a cop. Now, the next thing is, as an armed police officer, you never want anyone to be anywhere near your firearm. Right.
And just for the censorship gods, John is an ex-police officer. He ex-firearms officer, in fact. He knows what he's talking about.
So you got to keep them away from your firearm, because that is too dangerous for someone to get hold of. So she's talking to him. She's asking him to back up. She's backing away, right? Yeah. And he lunges at her, right? Violently. At that point, the video cuts, right? But well, no, it doesn't. She shoots him. And then he tries to come at her again, and she shoots him, right? So you see all this.
Yeah.
And she says, "Stop coming at me or I'll shoot you again." And he turns around and walks away, right? But I think she was justified, because she's turned up to deal with the situation. I would have said she's called for backup. It's probably on its way. But his actions don't give her an out, because she can't turn round and run away, because if she turns round, she doesn't know if he's got a gun or not. I mean, look at him. No. You don't know if he's got a gun. It turns out he was unarmed. It doesn't matter. You don't know if he's got a gun, and he's lunging at her rapidly. She's genuinely in fear of her life. I think it's a justified shooting. And that's going to annoy some people, right? Because,
I think it was absolutely right to neutralise him.
Yeah. But and that's
did she have alternative methods?
Yeah, well, see that. Well, that's the problem. It depends if she's got a taser or not. And the other thing,
if she's got a taser, she may well should have gone there first.
Well, maybe, but the problem with a taser is it doesn't work on everyone.
And not only that, you've got a split-second decision as somebody's lunging at you.
Yeah.
And you know, you're in fight or flight mode, and you've got a choice to make, and you've got to make a series of choices from what you're going to do to the motor movement of your arm to grabbing that gun to pulling it out. You've got to make all of those choices in a split second.
Yeah, so Andrew says Feared for Life didn't need to be a gun. Oh no, yeah, that's right. He could have had anything.
He could have had anything.
And the thing is, looking at him, what he's wearing, how many layers of clothing's he got on there? And he's got a full beard, right?
You don't know what he's got under there.
No, but it's not that. Is a taser going to penetrate that?
Who knows?
To actually get him, that's another thing. So I mean, it's a 50-50 on the weapon she used, I would say. But I think from my point of view, I think I think it's a justified shooting, and I think it's a tragedy, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the guy needed mental help. He didn't need to be shot. But the problem
he
is
needed more than mental help, because this just goes back to what I was talking about with Wales, especially with army veterans. Look how in the West we just abandon them.
I know.
We just abandon, and it's you know what? It's absolutely, it's disgusting. It's disgraceful, and I would say she was definitely justified in trying to, or attempting to, or in this case, actually neutralizing him, because, as you say, she's lunging at him.
Yeah. And
she's in fear of her life.
And this is the other thing, regardless of what you see in movies and TV, cops never shoot at people's limbs to try and...
No. They're taught to aim for the centre of mass, as you said.
You don't shoot at limbs because the chances of hitting it, if they're moving it, is slim. And you never shoot, this is the other one you don't do, you don't shoot at people running away.
You don't shoot them in the head.
No, you do shoot them in the head. There are times you do shoot them in the head, right? And I mean, my wife will testify to this, because every time I see someone in a hostage situation with them, they've got the hostage and they're holding the gun, that's when they get shot in the head. Because as soon as that bullet goes through their head, they're not pulling a trigger, they're not doing anything. They don't have time. You shoot them in the head and bang, they're out the equation.
You know what? I can't disagree that there was justification in her actions, and if that was the only weapon that she had access to, then absolutely there was justification in using that, because ultimately she would have also, in my opinion, and I think I'm probably right, but she was probably smaller than him. She was probably well, yeah. I mean, this is supposed to be. Well, I think that this angle on screen right now that I'm seeing is evidence, because this is a chest-mounted body cam.
It'll be a body cam mounted about here probably, so yeah, and it's looking up, so yeah, he's obviously a tall dude.
Chest-mounted body cam. Yeah. So she was more than likely smaller than him. What choice does she have? I mean, I saw some arguments on Twitter today about shootings in America, and I saw a lot of women jumping in and saying, you know, I'm a small woman. Mm-hmm. If a 6'5" man attacks me and I've got a gun, I've at least equaled the odds.
Yeah.
And I definitely see the point. I do. I definitely see the point that they're making. Now, whether or not I agree that everybody should be armed, that's not up for debate right now. But yeah, she was justified in at least neutralizing him for sure.
Right, moving on.
Let's move on.
So, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, Norwegian, okay,
that's the name,
says in an interview for CNN television that Pentagon documents that were previously leaked to the public contain incorrect information. How would you know General Jens Stoltenberg? Because some of those documents were labelled top secret, no for. Right? And no for means no foreigners.
Yeah.
And that includes your allies.
Yeah.
You're Norwegian. You would not have seen those no for documents.
And also, if that's the case, if the information is incorrect, then we will see Jack Teixeira released, surely, because he hasn't leaked anything.
Yeah, because if they're incorrect information, then those aren't the real documents then, are they?
No, so so according to this guy, Jens Stoltenberg, Stoltenberg, we should see Jack Teixeira's imminent release, because all he did was make shit up and put it out. So surely there's nothing to hold him on. So I'll believe it when I see it, Jens or Jens.
So bushels per acre gives us this from Kiev, the war zone we are told about. This guy is giving them a lecture on media while Zelensky literally banned media, and he's correct because Zelensky did sign into law a new bill on December the 30th of last year that effectively stopped journalist organisations reporting the truth. And yet this guy said, get a grip to bushels per acre.
So what you're trying to tell me here is this: that Zelensky arrested and banned leaders of the opposition party.
Yes, he did.
Shut down certain sects of religion.
Yes, he did.
Churches.
Yes.
He has now passed a law that gives him full regulatory power over the media.
Yes, he has.
And he's the one fighting for freedom.
Oh, he's fighting for our freedom.
Now, I'm not saying that he's not, but I'm saying, I don't think Ukraine's right. I don't think Russia's right. But when you start putting things into perspective, it just makes them both even bigger assholes, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
When you start putting everything into perspective, this shouldn't be happening. People shouldn't be dying on either side.
No.
And I say once again to the general public, to the man or woman that's trying to just make ends meet, when they ask you to go to war, tell them to go fuck themselves. We're not dying for your dick swinging contest.
So, speaking of swinging dicks, Hillary here says Trump cannot win the election, but Biden will. So Hillary has decreed.
I don't agree.
Well, unless Hillary's privy to certain. Well, remember, Hillary was implicated in certain irregularities, shall we say, regarding the last election that she lost.
Well.
The one in 2016. There were certain irregularities about that she blamed on Trump and actually turned around and the FBI found out it was her that was actually the problem. But
you know what? Hill dog, right? I don't think you've got all your faculties about you, love. Maybe it's just time to retire because, you've got way too many friends that have committed suicide.
Oh, way too many.
Maybe it's just time, Hill Dog, because they're obviously not going to... You've obviously got away with anything that you may or may not have done. So maybe it is time to just retire and go away. And I would say that for all senior politicians, but they won't fucking listen to me.
No, they won't. But yeah.
No.
So, from Maz Nielsen here, the new geopolitical balances in the Middle East are beginning to frighten Israel. And I think they are indeed. So the alarm was sounded by the General in Reserve, Yitzhak Brick, convinced that the threats facing his country have reached a level never touched before. Now, Israelis do tend to be Israelis do tend to be a bit. They think they are the victim in everything when they actually tend to be the aggressor in everything. But
I can neither confirm or deny that statement. I just don't know.
You cannot say anything against the certain races in this world, okay? And this might be one of them. That you can't question anything or say anything against them.
I'll tell you what, who is threatening them and saying things against them is Iran, who threatened to destroy Israel as first Russian fighter jets arrive in Tehran. So they've got themselves some nice Russian weaponry there, it would seem.
So hold on a minute. If we went back to near the beginning, wasn't Putin running out of tools to use in his war?
Yeah, he's selling them. He's got so few that he's selling them.
He's got so many, he's selling Iran fighters.
Well, I don't know if he sold it to them. They're more like they're on display. So Russian fighter jets arrive in Iran for major Army Day weapons displays, like our local Air Force down there.
Iran's buying them.
Because we usually get a MiG. We usually get a MiG down there, which is, beautiful plane. Flies lovely. Beautiful plane. But who knows? Anyway, moving on to Captain America says, "Good morning, America." Do you know Elon Musk? People have finally started actually getting the subscriptions on their Twitter accounts. I'm not one of them. I'm not privy to that yet. It still hasn't been approved. But anytime people get them, he starts subscribing to them, giving them money.
All right.
He's paying Mr. Beast.
Why? See, this is annoying though. I mean, Mr. Beast doesn't need it.
No.
I've actually
paying Mr. Beast.
I've never seen a Mr. Beast video.
Mr. Beast is in a lot of controversy at the moment. He's in a lot of hot water.
All right, what's he done?
Because his best friend Chris Tyson is transitioning as we speak.
Oh, that's right. Well, we covered that a couple of shows ago. Yeah. So why is he in the hot water though?
Who knows? Who knows?
All right. So
we've
Elon.
We've got a troll in the chat. We've got a troll in the chat. I want to say hello, troll. How are you doing?
Oh well.
He says I'm
really good.
I don't think this channel has ever espoused a single racist opinion, but we just talk about the news and we laugh at it. Elon has said Canadian Broadcasting Corporation said they're less than 70% government funded, so we corrected the label. 65% or 69% government funded media. I love it.
It's good. It's a good hey, you know you're starting to make a difference when you're getting trolls.
Yeah, you are. Do you know when I was doing mine, when I would be out on the ground, I would get a load of XXX now, click this link.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I got a load of them.
So, this is John Campbell, okay?
Yeah.
And he's another one of these, I had no idea I was tricked. And he was tricked by dastardly politicians and scientists, and therefore it's not his fault. Because why is it not his fault? Because he failed to think critically.
Because he failed to read.
Yeah. He failed to read, he failed to digest, he failed to analyse, and he failed to think critically. So
Diamond Princess.
Mm-hmm. And yet we just lay persons who are not, you know, specialists in epidemiology or virology or whatever, we could see and report, but he couldn't. Yeah.
See, he's a senior nurse practitioner, so that's what he is. One of my guests, and we both had it, we had a senior nurse practitioner come on the show many times. A guy called the Bemused Backpacker, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Senior NHS nurse practitioner and very successful travel blogger, very successful indeed. And he came to the complete opposite conclusion to John Campbell from the very beginning. Because do you know why? Because he'd been working in the NHS for God knows how long. He knew the protocols. Yeah. He knew how to do infection control. And he was told to basically throw everything he knew out of the window, and he absolutely refused. And John Campbell, when you're told to throw everything you know out of the window, for reasons, shall we say, just the reason you're giving is just reasons, because you weren't given any real scientific evidence to say you should, then perhaps you should have gone, why am I being told to throw everything I know out of the window?
Oh, exactly. It's like why did the WHO change their playbook? Why would you change your playbook at the start of something that your playbook is designed to counter?
I have no idea. That's the thing. I have absolutely no idea. Now, we can go back to what Mark Changizi was saying. I don't know if there was a nefarious mustache twirler. I think a lot of it was very reactionary and very hysteria-driven. But the real honest answer to all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is people like me, people like John, people like you, we're never going to know what happened, why it happened, and how it happened, because it's so complex, it is so layered, and there are so many people involved in just domino effects of hysteria. So we're never going to know what happened, how it happened, why it happened, and when it happened. So we can't give you an answer, but what we can say is this: John Campbell, you should have used your brain. You should have engaged it.
Mm-hmm. Should have.
Indeed.
Right. So,
Khan.
Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London.
Sadiq Khan. Sadiq.
So,
how you doing, my friend?
Toxic air harms landlords at every stage in life. Okay. From evidence of lowered sperm count to impact on fetal development, air quality can have a major impact before we're born. Taking action against air pollution must be a priority, not just in London, but across the country. Okay. Fine. Okay. Statement. Fine. But hold on a minute. If it's about your health, right, how does paying to do it make it any better?
Doesn't.
If it's being taxed, it's not about health, it's about money.
You know, I saw a video from Katie Hopkins, right? I saw this video from Katie Hopkins, and it was just an informative video, telling you not to go to places like Toolstation, and you know, we would never tell people to buy expandy foam for £3-4 a bottle,
Yeah.
that you can get at places like B&Q and Toolstation and any other real hardware retailer. We'd never tell you to go and get that stuff, and you know, we would never tell people to use it on
apparently
ULEZ
there's
cameras.
over 50 stolen yesterday. So that's shocking.
I wonder how the general public, right? And this might be me being this might be me being facetious, kind of, I guess. But surely the general public, if they were to destroy ULEZ cameras, don't they own them?
Well, technically, yes.
You know, technically speaking, how can one destroy one's own property and be prosecuted for it?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, you could try it in
It's
court.
probably
I think
not
you'll still get
it's
done.
probably not a point that will hold up in court, but you know.
But it's worth the argument, you know. Anyway,
Technically speaking, at the base level, yeah.
So here's Ursula von der Leyen, right? She's urging EU countries to adhere to the common position, because consensus is good, remember. The common position on China after Macron suggested not to drag Europe into Washington's conflict with Beijing. And yet again, we've got the French frickin' annoying little dictator actually speaking sense. It's just a pity he can't sort his own country out.
Did you see the video of him today? You're just getting booed wherever he went.
But he's right. Don't drag Europe into America's last-ditch effort to try and remain, you know, superpower against China, because it's just not going to end well. How can it possibly benefit any of us if we end up at war with China?
Well, it can't. It can't benefit any of us. It can't benefit any of us.
And if you want to support America, why are you still buying iPhones? Because where are they made? China. iPads? China. Cisco routers?
Your TV?
China.
Your camera? China. Your microphone? China. Your laptop? China.
Everything made in China.
Yeah. Most things that you use in your house right now were likely made in China.
Yeah.
They were likely made in China.
Now,
let's move on.
I don't
know
Marco
Polo here.
Yeah, I don't know what Sarwar is, not Sarwar, what Hamza's up to, but he seems to have missed the trick, and he's now calling Anash Sarwar, who's an MP, right, or an MSP. He's calling him Keir Sarwar.
Is he Labour?
Yeah. He was having a go at Keir Starmer, and then he was having a go at Anash Sarwar, and then he came out with Keir Sarwar. He's doing a Joe Biden.
Look. Hamza looks at every member of Labour like they're exactly the same person.
Well, they are. They're all white.
Yeah, well, you know, he looks at them and he goes, "You people, you." Wait a minute, what do you mean, you people? Well, I'll tell you exactly what I mean by you people, right? Because I fucking hate the fact that every institution in this country, and I'm on record saying this, I hate that it's led by white people.
But it's not.
I mean, the First Minister of Scotland is you, Hunter.
And the Prime Minister is a Hindu who's got a damn good suntan. Anyway,
yeah.
Speaking of Rishi Sunak, right? Rishi Sunak,
Yeah, he has done this, hasn't he?
pleads with Britons not to turn off the emergency phone alerts. Too late. All off.
All off.
Not
All
listening
off.
to your shite.
Nope. Not listening to your shite whatsoever.
Did you hear what some of the reasons were? You'd get you'd get warning
I
in the
did.
case of a tsunami
Or a nuclear strike.
or a nuclear strike.
Or a nuclear strike, John. Right? Are we expecting a tsunami? Are we expecting a nuclear strike?
The only
I live on the coast.
The only nuclear strike and tsunami is going to come from Russia. So maybe we should stop fucking with them. Maybe.
Luke Honeythunder says, I will be in Edinburgh tomorrow, 8 a.m. train from Newcastle. He's coming up your way, John.
Oh, he's going to Edinburgh. That's lovely, Luke. It's
Yeah,
just a
I
pity
hope
I
you
can't
have
go
it.
and meet you.
Yeah, it's lovely. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful time.
Have a nice
in
time. Edinburgh's all right. Glasgow's better, but
Suck
Edinburgh's
in
all
the culture. Just breathe in the ambience. He makes loads of little videos for his YouTube channel. They're actually quite nice.
right. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, they're nice. It just of his little
Right.
travels.
Here we
It's
go.
Quite nice.
Here's a biggie. I don't know if we're allowed to talk about this. Right. Climate scandal.
Mm-hmm.
Major doubts have been cast on the accuracy of global temperature results after the discovery that electronic thermometers in Australia have registered temperatures up to 0.7 of degrees centigrade higher than the traditional mercury glass units.
Oh no.
Well, 0.7 of a degree centigrade is about 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit, isn't it? So
Yeah.
that's a lot. That would account for there being no warming.
Yeah,
that would be
but John,
bad. What can you
move swiftly
say?
on. Just move swiftly on.
Yeah, I'll
because
move
Luke
swiftly
asks,
on.
do
I'll
you
just can't
Do you
happen.
live in Glasgow, John? You've been asked.
I'm close to Glasgow. Close to Glasgow. I
He's
don't
not.
live
He's
in
not
Glasgow.
quite in Glasgow. He's close to it. But yeah,
Near
from
the
our good
airport.
friend,
You can hear
from
that.
friend of the channel. Yeah, you can. He's in the direct flight path of the bloody airport. From friend of the channel, Mark Changizi, he simply tweets, "Wahahahahaha." To CBC Radio Canada's, our journalism is impartial and independent. To suggest otherwise is untrue. That is why we are pausing our activities on Twitter. And then says the same thing in French.
But nobody suggested your journalism wasn't impartial and independent. All that Elon said was you were 70% funded. Well, 69% funded, as you pointed out. You're less than 70%, but 69% funded by the government of Canada. So I don't understand the problem.
They just don't. I imagine that they're throwing their toys out of the pram because they believe that label will give the implication that they're not impartial. And I will say this to you, all of the mainstream legacy medias, you are not impartial. And you haven't been for a very, very long
I forgot
time.
to put the slide up. But yes, you are not impartial.
You're not. Moving on then to Ed the Techie.
This is a good one from Ed. So, from the Independent, 24-hour sausage rolls would cause wave of crime, police say. That was in regard to a West End location, Greg's, wanting to stay open for 24 hours to sell sausage rolls. But it would lead to a wave of crime in London. Is that?
Yeah. Isn't there a wave of crime going on in London anyway?
Yeah, I know, but how the hell does
Yeah,
Greg's staying open 24/7 cause a wave of crime?
We needed it's slow news day, John. We needed a story. Slow news day. We need
A wave of
story.
crime. What nonsense is this?
So Ed tweets, I always suspected it was those sausage rolls from Truffles leading me astray. To look at to look at it, you'd think it was a cute little Sussex bakery serving excellent bread, coffee, and pastries, but it's actually a secret crack house and meth emporium.
Yeah,
well, I've been to a 24-hour Greggs before, John. There's more than one of them. They're already available in parts of the country.
Yeah, I know. I was quite surprised. Even Greggs up here is open on a Sunday.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Right.
Wow.
Dean Cain, Superman. Remember Dean Cain?
Yep.
The guy's a fucking legend.
Well, the guy is as red-pilled as they come, as they say.
So here he goes. He says, I think neither of you are girls, okay? I mean, and that's fine. And they reply with, and you were never Superman either. And he says, correct. I pretended. Because he knows he plays pretend for a living.
Now, I will give you my personal opinion on Mulvaney once again, but then after that, we need to stop talking about it. He very, 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 very clearly admitted in his second day of girlhood that what he was doing was parody. He said it. I think Dylan Mulvaney is a troll.
Did he have surgery?
Facial feminization surgery, but no other.
But why did he have that? I mean, he still looks like a guy.
Because this is making him millions and millions of dollars and getting him massive brand
endorsement. He is a troll. I know. He is a troll.
He's a troll.
But
and he said it was parody.
Dean Cain. Take my hat off to you, sir.
There are people in this. There are people in this world that genuinely do need all of the support possible. They have gender dysphoria. It is a serious condition, right? And we need to support those people. We need to, especially adults. I mean, I would say exclusively adults. But we need to support these people. And if they come to the conclusion that they want to do this sort of thing to their own body, I'm not going to stand in their way at the end of the day. But I will not be gaslit, I will not be threatened, and I will not be told what I can say or think. Now, ultimately, I let people live and let live. But if people want to come at me and try policing my thoughts and my language, that's not live and let live, is it?
No.
So that's all I will say. Because, most trans people just live quietly and under the radar and live their lives. That's the vast majority of them. What you're getting here is a real vocal minority, and I would say a very militant vocal minority at that. And they don't represent the people they purport to represent. That's all I'm going to say.
So Jess Phillips here says, today in working in Parliament, there's a noise in my office. It sounds like someone mowing a lawn that has persisted for 48 hours. And Fidel Construct comes back with us with, have you left something switched on in your handbag? A classic. It's these witty one-liners that just make your day.
It does. It just puts a little smile on my face.
That's what might trigger some people, but it is in jest.
That's
I think.
The question. So that's the question is, what was the weirdest place that you have pleasured yourself? And John, would you like to read the answer there?
When I was 19, I was suicidal. I went to go lay down on the train tracks and get run over. I got bored waiting for a train, so I decided to rub one out while lying on the tracks. Post-nut clarity helped me get off the tracks and get the help I needed. And then...
saved his life.
Then the reply. Weirdest place for me was near some railway line, watching some dude lying in the tracks beating off. It was like a race of who was going to come first, him, me, or the train. There's always someone got it in for you, isn't there? You bare your soul. You bare your soul, and that's what you get. Now, we are doomed.
Oh my word! Did somebody actually say that?
Yep. This is... It's vegan because it's strawberry milk and not from a cow.
Oh, you absolute... Oh, the IQ. The IQ. Oh, just
if you're Gen Z, you should be ashamed, very ashamed.
You know what? And it's reasons like fucking this that TikTok should be banned.
Yeah.
Right? Because these people, they go on TikTok, and I guarantee you that sort of thing would give thousands of likes.
What you doing,
Oh, you
John?
slavey.
What you doing? I'm milking this strawberry.
Yeah, you're milking a strawberry, are you, John?
Yeah.
It'd be more like this.
With the teeny, it's got loads of little teats all over it.
What are these little yellow things all over the strawberry, John? Oh, they're the teats. They're the teats. Jesus
Anyway,
Christ.
the New York Post comes up with this gem. Prince Harry lookalike wanted for stealing Louis Vuitton bag.
That's not a Prince Harry lookalike. That's just a ginger beard. Is that the qualifier now? Is that it? If you because my beard grows in partially ginger, can I go get a job? Prince Harry impersonator. That's the qualifier because that guy looks absolutely fucking nothing like Prince Harry.
I know. You just admitted.
But parts of my beard growing ginger.
Yeah.
Nothing else does.
Ginger. Ginger striper.
You know, I absolutely adore ginger hair. I think it looks great.
Oh, I think it's fucking foul.
I think it looks fantastic. I really do.
So I put this one in quite late. Mike of the Southwest here, right? My wife and I were talking about fat people last night. Or, well, what would you call them? Weightily challenged? I don't know. Just saying, why do they get so fat? And it must be hard to do everyday things, etc. Well, it can be at times. Putting your socks on can be difficult. And then I said, just casually, matter of fact, that's why if people get too fat, they take them to the zoo to get an MRI. Which is true. Which is true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Was that loud enough, troll room? Was that loud enough?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Turn it. You could tweak it up a tiny bit and then go again if you'd like.
That's true.
Is that loud
There you
enough,
go. That's
troll
good.
room? Is
Yeah,
that loud
that's good.
enough? Is it? Is it
No,
really loud
about
enough?
right.
What?
Push the Putin button. Push the
Putin?
Putin button.
Putin!
Perfect. In my ears, that's perfect.
Oh, well, tell me, troll room. Is that loud enough? Yeah.
They're all saying it's fine.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
It's absolutely fine.
Yeah, so
Right.
that is true. If you're too big, you won't fit in that little hole.
We're moving on to our final video, and I have seen our final slide, and I have seen this video, and I wanted to just cry in a corner when I saw this, because at the end of the day, right, as a bigger person myself, put the slide up, John. Put the slide up. It is funny, but I think there is a serious aspect to it. This woman here says, why isn't the airline's focus on providing adequate seating for plus-size people, as in larger seats and a larger area? Also, the toilets would need addressing too. And have you seen the video?
Yeah, I've seen most of it.
Well, what the fuck? I mean...
Oh, she wants everything.
At the end of the day...
And she wants a refund.
Well, for the most part, right? For the most part, our body size is solely our own responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
We need to take responsibility for that. And if you can't fit in the plane seat, that's a consequence of what you chose to do with your body.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is. It's an absolute consequence. I know I'm a larger guy, right? I'm not anywhere near as big as I used to be. And in fact, even on this show, John's got some pictures, shall we say, of when we started this show. I'm a lot smaller now than I was then.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it is not the airline's responsibility to cater for you. If you want more space, buy 2 seats. If you want... It's as simple as that.
I actually replied to this.
What did you say?
I said, okay, I'll go along with it if you start pricing airline tickets per pound.
That's certainly a compromise. I would say.
Yeah,
it's
because
certainly a compromise.
why should the skinny guy pay for the... Why should the guy that takes up less space pay for the person that takes up 2 seats, right? Why should the person that weighs less pay for the person that weighs 4 times as much to haul their fat ass around? Because it's going to take more kerosene to fly the plane from point A to point B because of the amount of weight in that passenger.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And personally speaking, like I said, as a larger guy, I'll tell you what, I was 23 stone and 9 pounds. That was my biggest.
That's heavy.
And I went to Thorpe Park Thorpe Park in Chertsey in Surrey, and I got on a roller coaster. It was a Halloween event, so it was a Fright night. The place was packed. And I got on a roller coaster called Colossus. It's a 10 looper, and it took 3 members of staff to put me in my restraint. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life. And I'll tell you actually straight, it was the most embarrassing moment of my life.
Did that prompt you to lose weight?
I lost 10 stone in under 6 months.
After that? Yeah.
That was the moment. That's what did it.
Yeah.
And then I put up a picture of me at that size. I put it on the wall so that I could look at it every day and fat shame myself into doing it. And I didn't exercise. I can't exercise because I'm a disabled man. Well, I can do,
Yeah.
I can't do exercise.
Exercise is only 15 to 10% of weight loss anyway. It's all about diet. It's all about what you eat.
I restricted myself to an 800 calorie a day diet.
Yeah, I don't
which was
count
probably
calories.
quite dangerous.
No,
But,
why would it be?
But it worked.
Why would it be dangerous?
It worked.
Why do you think it would be dangerous?
Well, I was obviously taking in far more than that, and my body
Yeah, but
was used to far more than that.
Right, so effectively, see all that fat, you know where it is? It's just stored food.
Of course it is, yeah.
So when you can't provide, when you're unable to go out and fucking catch something to eat, your body just uses the stored food that it's got packed around you. And that's why we're so quick at putting food on, why we're so quick at putting on weight. Because we're always, our bodies are still, our bodies haven't evolved. They're still looking for the famine coming. So they'll pack away as much as can. And that's why we have this sweet tooth. Because sweetness isn't a thing you get very often in the wild, and when you do get it, it's very seasonal. But we treat ourselves all the time now, and that's why we're all getting obese.
RCW says I no longer eat lunch. Well, I don't eat breakfast, lunch, or snack. I only eat dinner.
You don't get that many toxins when you melt fat, when you eat fat, because your body deals with it. And anyway, if you're eating a healthy diet, you shouldn't have toxins in your fat anyway.
Yeah, actually, I had my dinner late this afternoon.
Your actual diet, apart from your stupid consumption of highly fructose, laden drinks, is your diet is fine. Fat. Your diet's fine because you're basically carnivore.
For diet for 20 years.
Well, that's
fine.
For
20 years.
It's the stupid it's the stupid consumption of sugary drinks that's doing you in.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I know it, and I've always known every time I cut these down, the weight falls off me.
Mm-hmm.
It does. It falls off me. But at the end of the day, taking this right back to the slide, I didn't expect them to put in a big boy seat for me in the roller coaster. I did get to ride the roller coaster, and do you know what? Now I can ride that roller coaster and have absolutely no issues in getting the restraint at all.
Yeah.
And in fact, me and John have been to Alton Towers, and we rode everything, didn't we, John? With no issues.
Yeah, no props.
Yeah. And that wouldn't have been the case for me if I'd remained that size. Put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
RCW says my weakness is
beer's the problem with. I like beer as well.
Well, the responsibility for our body sizes ultimately does lie upon us, and we can choose to do something about it. Now, I do think this rhetoric that's being bandied about now that you can be 30 stone and completely healthy, I think that rhetoric is dangerous.
No, you can't.
I really do.
Yeah.
I think that rhetoric is dangerous. You see people going along saying it, and then you see an article saying they died from a heart attack a few weeks later. That's happened.
You're lugging that amount of weight around. You're doing in your joints. You're doing in all your internal organs because they're all getting pressured with the amount of fat that's packed around them. Your heart's having to work harder to get the blood pressure around your body. Yep. Your blood pressure's higher, so you're more likely to have a stroke it's a whole litany of things that's going to cause you problems. You're just not designed to be that size.
No, you're not.
And this is coming from a fat guy because I'm not thin, but I know that I need to lose it again, and that's what I'm doing.
Andrew says he cold turkey drink in his 30s and lost 7 stone.
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
And you know what? That sort of weight loss and that sort of achievement should be celebrated.
Yeah,
people have decided to make a choice to try and extend their life, and by extension, you know, be in other people's lives for longer. Because when you do things like this that ultimately kill you, it doesn't just affect you. It affects everybody else around you. You've got children, you've got parents, you've got loved ones. Yeah, I know you're on the water, right? But I know come Friday night you'll be on the beer, and you'll be pissed as a fart. And it's people's weakness. When I'm in Paris, if people want to donate to the live streaming when I go to Central Paris, you're going to be buying me wine. That's what you're going to be doing. You're literally going to be buying me wine. And I don't drink, but it's going to be hilarious. I'm going to sit in some wine bars and live stream some protests as well when I find them.
So, I think that pretty much wraps us up. Thank you, everyone. It's now 25 to 10. And
wow, it's been a good show.
Hamza, I'm Greeting will be live at 10 o'clock if you didn't catch it on the pre-roll. So you can pick it up on the videos on the channel.
So before John says thank you, I want to say thank you for listening to my high as a kite, legally medicated rants this evening. I hope they've been coherent, I hope they've been interesting, and I hope you've enjoyed yourself. John, over to you.
And with that, I'd like to thank everyone for attending this Chasing Dissent Live, episode 215 with me, John, and Ben. It's been great. For you.
For you.
You can see the riding on the pavement. Young kids, they're growing up in basements. Online, a whole new generation. I'ma make mine, so you better go take it. Always, they need a new replacement. Decentralized, can't contain it. We're changing lives, yeah, upgrading. Call it suicide of the older generation. Too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah.